Okay, so what I have here is a P-1. I've had this pistol for about 20 years. So what I'm going to do for you right now is make clear. So the way you do that is you cock the hammer back, visually inspect down the barrel that there isn't a pellet, which you see there isn't. And you can see it is on safe. For fire, you would go forward like that. And the trigger pull on this can go all the way down to about a pound. I've got it set about 3.5 right now. So there's a little bit of take up. Just a real tiny click there. Let me show you closer to the camera. It's just really short. Really smooth, no grit, no binding or nothing. So it is a great trigger on this Beeman P-1. So anyway, this is back on safe. Now what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to show you some cans and wood that I shot with it, just to give you an idea of the power. And also I have velocities on this one for a few pellets, but I do have them written down in a notebook for most of them. If you look at this airsoft pistol, which is a 1911 airsoft pistol, it gives you some comparison. So it's almost like a bigger version of a 1911. So once again, Beeman P-1. This one is 177 caliber. I've got a 20 caliber barrel for it, but it's also 22 cal also. They all shoot about 5 to 5.5 foot-pounds. Although in 20 cal I was able to get 6 foot-pounds out of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate for you how it works and fire a couple live rounds into this duct seal. This is an electrician's sealing compound stuff. And then you can see behind it I've got a pellet trap, although it's not necessary. I do it anyway. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to load it up for you and demonstrate. Okay, so low power, what you're going to do is you're going to cock it so that it comes halfway. And I usually cock it differently, but since I have a camera here to show you guys, I'm going to have to do it different. You see how I cocked it halfway? That's low power. Okay. Okay, so there's low power. And then high power, what we're going to do is we're going to take it all the way so that it's at a 45-degree angle. That's high power. Okay. And as you can see, this duct seal is very strong because I've got a couple pellets here. One of them's doing, the high-powered one's probably doing about 550 or higher. And yet you can see the duct seal. This is older duct seal, but you can see it hardly did anything to it. The older duct seal gets, the stronger it gets. Usually it's really soft and you would have to pick out the pellet, but in this situation here, since this is older, I didn't even get a 1/4 inch penetration into this duct seal. So anyway, now that I've shown you that, show you the pistol one more time and then show you the cans and the wood penetration and some velocity stats on this. Okay. And it's basically aircraft aluminum. I don't know of any plastic parts on this one. So aircraft aluminum or metal or wood, like you see here in the grips. And you can tell this is an older one because it doesn't have the fiber optic sights on it, but it is fully adjustable for windage and elevation. These P1s here, these can get out to 75 yards real easy. I've shot at milk jugs at 75 yards, even further, since they have a much higher velocity than people think they do. I do know that the Browning Magnum, 800 Magnum, I've got one of them, is higher velocity, but what you have to remember is that this is a P1. It's got a shorter barrel, and for its short barrel it really gives a high velocity. The barrel's right about here and goes to there. It's about, I think it's about 5 inches long. So that barrel compared to the Browning barrel is much longer than this one is, and yet this one's only 100 feet per second shy of the Browning 800 Mag. So if this one's doing 550, the Browning does 650. But when it comes down to the shortness of the barrel, this one's really got a lot of power given the length of the barrel. So it's kind of nice to shoot this. With the 5.56 H&N trophy pellets, I was getting 652 feet per second. So you can tell it's got like Daisy 880 10 pump velocities, but it's in a pistol form, so it's got pump rifle velocities. So anyway, I'm going to show you some of the stuff here. First of all, I'll start off with some velocities. I don't have the 5.56 H&N alloy pellet to show you the field target trophy. It was doing 652. The 5.4 grain that I'm going to be showing you has 3 different names: RWS, Crossman, or Skenko. Crossman calls them penetrators, 5.4. This was 642 feet per second. The reason why the velocity is so low is because when this fits in the barrel, it's real loose. So you lose velocity with this one. It's still fast, but it does lose a little velocity. And then the 787 grain JSB, that's this one here, 787 grain. And then finally the 10.34 grain right here. And as you can see, I've got the velocities for you right here. High power setting, high power setting, and then low power setting. Look at what it does for low power, 452. That's pretty good. So anyway, I'm going to show you some of the penetration here. So the 5.4 grain, the Crossman penetrator, if you want to call it that, you're looking at a little bit over a ½ inch of pine penetration. 10.34 grain on high power was 470 feet per second, approximately a ½ inch of penetration. The 787 on full power, 787 grain, a little bit more than a ½ inch, in between a quarter and 1 2/3 it appears to be. So we got that one. The 787, this was on lower velocity, the low setting. You can see it's in between an 1/8 of an inch and a ½ inch for that one. So them are the penetrations. Let me show you the soup can. So on low power, the soup can here, 452 feet per second for the 787. It went through one side. Put a dent on the other right there. 452 feet per second for that 787. The next one was the same pellet but on high setting, and that would give us 554. 554, it went through one side, out the other, and on the second can it dented it up really bad. Usually pellets that do about 385 or 400 dent it like that, so it's still got a lot of punch in it. And finally, the last pellet that we did was, you could call it the Crossman Penetrator, RWS Hypervelocity, whatever you want. So let's start out with the first can. Punched a hole for the, or by the way, 642 feet per second. Punched a hole through the first, all the way out the other side. Went completely through the second can. And the third can, we got a complete pass through the other side, and then when it hit the fourth can, it keyholed and made a little dent. So that's the can test, and then you've seen the wood test that I did there. And once again, here's the velocities right here. I have a lot more stats on this Beeman P-1, but I just wanted to show you guys. No matter what caliber you get it in, it's going to be about 5.5 to 6 foot-pounds of energy. In between 5 and 6, somewhere around there. So as you can see, this one being 20 years old, it still functions really good. The piston that's inside the compression chamber is actually like kind of like a Teflon material, and that's one of the reasons why these last so long, is because they're kind of built like a tank, and the only thing you really have to do is chamber lube it. And there's a seal, a breech seal, right inside here. That's kind of easy to find. You want to make sure it's exactly the right one, but you can match these up sometimes with them any kind of O-ring kit that you get. You just have to make sure that you get your metric and standard size so you can find out which one that is. And I've got a few backup seals, so you have to watch that seal there. That's what gives you the consistent velocity. Once that seal gets marked up and split, you'll lose velocity. But other than that, right inside here, I give it a couple drops of RWS chamber lube. And what I do is when I put the lube in, I do this motion. What that does is that sucks it in. So that's kind of good to do that, to suck it in. So anyway, it's a really nice pistol, aircraft aluminum. It's very heavy. Let me show you the sights if I can here. Kind of like target sights, I guess you could call them. And this thing here, you could shoot maybe up to 11.5 grain, them silver arrows or silver points, but I would stick about there. And the lightest pellets, you don't have to worry. This one ain't gonna break Mach speeds, so you know, if you wanted to shoot the 5.56 that goes 652 feet per second, no problem with that. So yeah, very little maintenance to keep this thing going. Now what I do, any place where there's metal touching metal, I use a moly paste. So any place you got metal touching metal, you want to touch that up with moly. But there it is there.